This is a psyop.
Complete and utter psyop. So going after people like me, going after Joe Rogan, who I don't think even uses the phrase.
Oh, a couple years ago, Christ is King started being spoken all over Twitter. It became a big controversy. It was seen as anti-Semitic, as if Christians were specifically pointing this at Jews because they oppose Jesus Christ. Welcome to the Doug TenNapel channel. I hope you're having a happy Sunday. Hope you went to church if you didn't read your scriptures. Today, my people, today is the day of your salvation. Repent. Welcome to the Doug TenNapel channel. And now we're going to go into Jack Posobiec. He's going to do a little bit of Jason Whitlock too on the subject. And I will comment also, because if we're going to talk about Christian stuff, hey, I'm in. Here's Jack Posobiec on the phrase.
And what do they really mean when they're saying Christ is King? And I got a little clue for you. We're saying that the King of the universe is Jesus Christ. We're saying Christ is King. We're saying Viva Christo Rey, Ave Christus Rex, Vivat Christus Rex, Vivat Jesus. Like these are the phrase Christ is King is a very common phrase, particularly for myself. You know, I've heard it my whole life.
Now that's Jack Posobiec. He's a buddy, an online buddy of mine anyways. He supported my work. I, of course, support him. But he's saying, look, just saying Christ is King is totally innocent. It just means that Christ is the King of the universe. You guys know that every Christian already believes that Christ is King. And I don't know if I'm 100% on board with the totally doe-eyed Christians going, I just mean he's the King of the universe. I don't want to accuse Jack Posobiec of anything, because there's a lot of reasons why someone could say Christ is King. And I have seen people online. I've seen atheists tell Jews that Christ is King online. Not me, not Jack Posobiec, not many Christians. I have seen it used as an attack phrase, but I also don't think it's a big deal to use it as an attack phrase, because online people will say stuff to offend people all the time. If I come out and say, guys, I'm really self-conscious about my height. I'm 6'8". Please don't say anything about my height. People would just start ripping into my height just for the fun of it. Some of them because they're enemies, some of them because they're friends. So I'm only saying there's a lot of reasons why people do say Christ is King, and it's not always what Posobiec says it is, which is the legit fact that Christ is indeed King. That's number one. Number two, you have the free speech right to say what you want. You know what I mean? Say Christ is King. Don't say Christ is King. Say Jesus is Lord instead, or don't say it. Or we protect even the free speech right for people to say, hey, if you say Christ is King, you're just trying to be insulting to people. Fine, you have your opinion. Doesn't tell me anything about anything other than we encourage free speech opinion. And of course, saying Christ is King is within that. Here's more Jack Posobiec. We're going to keep going with him.
You know, growing up in the Archdiocese of Philadelphia and just going to church, there's a whole feast day of Christ the King, and there's Christ the King churches just, you know, pretty much everywhere. They're all over the place. Want to also play a clip though that where someone else was discussing this just incredible phenomenon, and someone who, you know, it doesn't even really usually get into theological matters, and it's of course the great Jason Whitlock. Let's play that now.
They're trying to make proclaiming Jesus as King, they're trying to make it illegal. They're trying to smear that whole deal.
Now hold on here. I got a little shade to throw at Jason Whitlock, and you guys know that I've done whole shows on him. I love him. But I will say there are black entertainers that every time something comes up about the Jews, they're going to take the side against the Jews. I'm just saying. So he's had a lot of Candace Owens on. There's a lot of heat out there right now on. And I'm only saying, of course, he's going to come out and defend the use of Christ as King. This is a weird one, because I would think of Jason Whitlock as a great Christian man. I think of Jack Posobiec as a great Christian man. But I do think this phrase of defending or attacking Christ as King is political. It's more than just about the phrase. It's kind of like Christian nationalism. Okay, is another word that people throw around. And like at first, the words Christian nationalism was meant to insult Doug Wilson, Vodi Bakum, you know, the people that were for theonomist, for the idea that Christ wanted us to establish, have our nation here on earth, a kingdom here that we're allowed to dominate because we're human beings. And then it became an actual word on the right where Christians started making it our anthem, Christian nationalism. You bet we're Christian nationalists. And Tucker Carlson, we're Christian nationalists. So I'm only saying it is still a political word. So that's the only pushback I'm going to do on Whitlock is I've noticed a lot of Israel stuff. Whitlock, I don't know why. I don't know if he's got a bug. I don't know if he's got theological basis for it. Goes against Israel and Jews when he can. I know a lot of blacks that are that way. I don't want to, I'm not blaming it on his skin culture. Maybe I'm blaming it on his culture. And I'm in the Reformed Presbyterian movement. There's a lot of guys in my movement that are just like, there is no Israel, Doug. The modern day Jews is the church. The modern day Jews are Christians. The modern day Israel is the Christian world that is not holding on to the soil or that Abrahamic promise, which is about bringing Gentiles in. It's been fulfilled.
Where people can't say it. Oh, when Jack Posobiec uses it, he's doing it for good reason. And we just included Jack Posobiec's tweet in there in a way to smear him, but we really weren't smearing him. Hey, Posobiec is right, because this comes from out of nowhere. And no one was talking Christ is king. And now all of a sudden the Daily Beast has a story and these people have to be expelled. And the National Contagion Resource Institute, something invented in 2018, they've now, Christ is king, boy, on Elon's X platform, man, when it's used, it's done to slur the Jew.
That is also true. That's why I'm talking about Whitlock and Posobiec. Now, it's also true that it is common to say that, and this is from the Daily Beast, when the Daily Beast goes after a Christian brother or sister for using Christ as king and saying it's against the Jews, and you guys heard me say something similar, when Daily Beast does that, I want you guys to know that it is political. That is, it is meant to point a finger at right-wing Christians and say that they're anti-Semites. All of them. If you use the word Christ as king, you're an anti-Semite. So it goes back to are there anti-Semites using Christ as king? Yes, there is. I don't know if it's most of them. I don't know if it's even a high percentage of them, like more than, say, 5% of them. It is true. But when Daily Beast goes after Whitlock and these people, I do think that these institutions are trying to say that these are all anti-Semites. So I guess I'm saying that our politics are complicated. There's a lot of different motivations for everything. I generally know your motivations by just seeing your track record. Like if I see Whitlock in general, I've heard him give a lot of heat to the Jews. That's just a fact. That doesn't make him anti-Semitic. Daily Beast will selectively attack Christians and call them racist and anti-Semitic. And they will go after a guy like Jason Whitlock, whether if he's anti-Semitic, that is Elon Musk, they'll say he's a Nazi. Whether if he's a Nazi or not, they'll call him a Nazi. Whether if Whitlock is doing something anti-Semitic or not, they don't care, man. They're trying to make a political point against Christianity. And then I get tricked into defending every single person who uses the term Christ is king. I'm not going to defend it because I think some people have bad motives. That's just, that's true.
This is a psyop.
Complete and utter psyop. So going after people like me, going after Joe Rogan, who I don't think even uses the phrase.
Joe Rogan isn't even a Christian. So he does not believe Christ is king.
Going after Candace Owens, who recently converted to Catholicism, and just go to, and here's the whole thing, right? Here's the whole thing. And guys, if you have that
and hold on, you can't just mention Candace Owens, Jack. She converted to Catholicism. Candace Owens, I will say, is anti-Semitic. I would be willing to have a conversation with her on my show because I think she's a nice lady and everything. But I mean, I just won't lump her in with everybody else. It's not the same. The things she said, it's almost like Kanye level anti-Israel stuff.
Image of where that report. This is what I really want to get into. That image where it shows my tweets, just saying it like I do every single morning, like I pray my rosary every single morning.
I'm a Protestant. I don't advocate for praying the rosary, not for it. But I'm just saying, I don't endorse it. I'm happy for Jack Posobiec that he's able to publicly say it, since we're talking about free speech.
And just put that up on the screen so people can see this report. The National Contagion Institute. Oh, the contagion of Christ is King, the contagion of the phrase. What sort of people would want you to not say that phrase? What sort of people would want to work to, I don't know, lay the foundation for this specific set of words, this specific set of, it's a collection of letters, it's a collection of words, but we're going to track these words and we're going to label them.
Yeah, I'm going to back him up on that too. That is not a conspiracy. I know it sounds weird, but I know that the Anti-Defamation League, the ADL, and many, again, I have Jewish friends too, okay, so I'm not trying to rip on them, but many Jewish organizations have tried to make it so that if you share Jesus, if you share the gospel with a Jew, that it is considered anti-Semitic. It is considered racist, or it is considered cruel and unusual and a mockery to do to Jews. And the Jews have used that argument going all the way back to when Jesus first came out, okay? So you can go back into history and see where they flat out condemned Christians for sharing the gospel with Jews. Now, if I share the gospel with a Jew, I'm trying to save his life. And I have friends that are Catholic too, and I argue with them. They're trying to turn me into a Catholic to save my life, and I'm trying to turn them into a Protestant to save their life. Okay, so everyone's trying to save each other's lives. Let's not go into the idea that witnessing to Jews, you can't be called anti-Semitic.
And we're going to conduct social media network analysis to find out the 5GW warfare network of all the people who are saying this thing. Well, I'll tell you what's going on. I'll tell you what's going on. They're laying the framework for this to be declared anti-Semitic hate speech phrase. And
you're a little behind on that one, Jack. They're already doing it. That's already mainstreamed and pretty common. Among the most religious Jews, I had a Hasidic Jew friend who flat out he said, if you tell me about Jesus, we're not going to be friends anymore. I go, then we're not going to be friends anymore. And he would bring up his Judaism to me, and I would bring up Jesus to him, and he'd go, this call has to be over. He's a Hasidic Jew out in New York, and we're divided on certain things. It's okay to be divided, guys. So what Jack Posobiec is calling out here is Christ is King. I'll use the same argument that he just used. Christ is indeed King. By the way, whether if I say it or not, if we don't speak up, the rocks and stones will cry out. The dry bones will get up and start dancing, guys. That is, inanimate objects will proclaim Christ's glory. Christ is King. The world sits under his footstep. So me repeating that and saying Christ is King, Jesus is Lord, Jesus is God is an understatement compared to the reality of who he really is. It doesn't even begin to grasp how dominant and wonderful Jesus as God is. I'm Doug Tenaple. Thanks for watching my channel. Christ is King.